Nicole, welcome to Lawyers Who Learn.
I love that. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. We are at now PDI in Washington, D.C. at the Lawline booth.
Yes.
And we're going to dive deep into your learning journey in 20 minutes or less.
I'm excited.
Luckily, you answered some questions ahead of time that we can start with. But just to give a sense, your role right now is you are the Fellows Program Director at the Leadership Council on Legal Diversity.
Actually, our name is LCLD.
Okay.
And that is all. LCLD.
LCLD.
Yes.
So I don't know. Okay. LCLD.
LCLD is our official name.
I
very recently.
Okay, fantastic.
But yeah, so I run the Fellows Program, which is a year-long professional development program for mid-career to senior career attorneys.
Okay.
High performers. So it's not a remedial professional development program. It's meant for our members to send their high-performing attorneys to come and get learning opportunities, but also develop relationships with other people in the same area as them so they can start to really build a professional network.
We're going to dive into that in two shakes of a lamb's tail, but I want to talk a little bit about you first.
Okay. I love to talk about me. It's my favorite.
Why not? So one thing that stood out to me in your learning and growth journey is you got an emotional intelligence certification.
Yeah. It's not an emotional certification that I am emotionally intelligent. It's that I can teach an assessment on others' emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence is actually a topic we have had in the Fellows Program. And I usually have somebody else do it. I had a great person who would come and he would give a program and do the assessment and then analyze the results. And then as I, in my learning journey, had discovered is I really do to present and to train. And I thought, I could do that myself. Why don't I start to do this training?
Okay, so but is there a course that you took?
No, so it is I took a two-day certification course. So
on emotional intelligence.
On the specific tool called the EQI 2.0 and the 360.
Is it a survey you fill out?
It is an assessment that you can give to people, and then
multiple choice questions.
Yes, it's a lot of multiple choice questions, and then you get a report, and I am now able to give the session, administer the assessment, coach people on the reports, read the reports for them, give them tips of things.
Emotional intelligence to me is like maybe overused, but like to the most important thing that there is, because it's being aware of the moment that you're in. It's to me where I put myself on that area, it's being able to listen to what someone's saying and ask questions and being present in the moment. Can you expand on that or tell me I'm wrong?
Yes, no, that's active listening. And active listening is actually a very important part of emotional intelligence and is actually a session that we do in the Fellows Program. I started doing it about 2 or 3 years ago with a gentleman who does it for me because I thought that was such an important, especially for attorneys. I have an attorney he's a managing partner. And whenever, obviously very busy, right, as a law firm managing partner, but whenever I talk to him, he makes me feel that I am the only one that he's interested in talking to at that moment.
That is amazing. What does he do to do that? To teach us how to do that.
Yes, and it is just a way of his attention, right? A way of his asking questions. Yeah. And to be honest, he just has an incredible memory, right? Who can remember things that we talked about. But that is such a skill that I think is really important for attorneys with clients, with anybody, because we're so busy.
First of all, same Nicole is like the best thing you could hear in the world. So like remembering names is not so easy to do.
Yes.
And I used to do like mnemonics to try to do that because that really helps. But for me, when I do these interviews, even though I have like the questions that you have, it's a test for me because I try to go, how deep can I listen? And then how many follow-ups can I ask to your question? And so that's what I try to do in life. In 2-day course on certification, anything else? Because I think I could do this whole thing on emotional intelligence. Is there anything else that in your learning journey that I don't know, because to me, it's just, I think sometimes get confused. Common sense, that's emotional intelligence. Is that what?
There's a lot of different elements to emotional intelligence that go to almost every session here at PDI that we teach in leadership development. It ties back to emotional intelligence. That's what I like about it. You said it's overused, but yet it's underused at the same time because nobody is drawing all of these sessions on active listening or communication or managing up. They're not drawing it back to It's emotional intelligence, actually.
And that can be trained.
Yes, absolutely. Emotional intelligence, unlike some other things like IQ, you can actually improve your scores on it. And by scores, it's really your ability to use whatever element it is.
We talked a lot about active listening. Is there anything else that you can point out that is part of it?
Active listening is one. No, another one is difficult conversations, right? Because that deals a lot to certain elements like
crucial
empathy,
conversations,
right? And interpersonal
radical
relationships.
candor.
Yes, being able to have a difficult conversation. Actually, the best tip I had, and again, I give this to my active listening training, is our trainer said this one time and I've used it ever since. And he said, the best way to get through like a difficult conversation is to train your mind to say, I'm looking forward to the conversation. Come in with a mindset. I'm looking forward to this conversation. I'm looking forward to this conversation. And I've done that when I've had to talk to somebody that I really don't want to. And I find it actually does help.
I think it's so natural to avoid conflict. And the other thing that people try to do, which is not necessarily, I think, recommended, is they try to do a sandwich compliment with a difficult conversation, or they try to make it bigger than it is. And one of the things that we were taught with our coach is to have a conversation where it's more a slight correction, a slight direction correction versus a huge conversation.
Right.
So this is, and the last thing is you need to have trust with the person to order to have that. And I think there's a foundation behind it.
And that is all part of interpersonal relationships, which is part of emotional intelligence, being able to develop that with other people, because that's a huge part of building trust.
What is the number one thing that law firms send their attorneys to your organization for?
Ooh, the number one thing. You know what? A lot of times it's not necessarily the substantive, it's for the network. The fellows class, and we have another group called Pathfinders who are junior attorneys. The classes can be upward of 400
in person.
We do in-person meetings all over the country. So we'll do one meeting on the East Coast. We'll do the next meeting on the West Coast. We do small regional meetings all over. So there's a lot of in-person touch points as well as some virtual in between.
So 1 day or 2 day?
The conferences are usually 3 days.
3 days.
3 days, yes.
And it goes to smaller breakouts.
And we do some smaller, and then it's all working at your table. We tell all our speakers these have to be interactive. These people don't want to be talked to because we want them to develop a relationship. And so the number one thing that people get out of the program, other than our awesome speakers, because we do have I have a amazing network of speakers and experts in different areas. But it's that they form these great relationships, right? And they leave the program with professional contacts, like personal friends. They go on vacation together, some of these people that they meet. And as they grow in their career, as people they're the ones who are really going to help you.
I'm in part of something called YPO. It's Young Presidents Organization. So it's entrepreneurs, C-level executives, and it's peer-to-peer learning. Yeah. And we have forums, like almost like board of advisors. So I'm all about coaching, forums, group help.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, why did you recently rebrand the name to LCLD versus the longer name?
Just given the current environment and making sure that our members feel comfortable being a part of our organization.
Got it. Okay. So let's go to, let's see.
I'm trying to think what I wrote here.
I know. I got you. No, this is, you're saying no coffee.
Yeah, I almost put on there, what's your fun fact? I hate that question about fun facts.
Sorry.
But I also said something like quirky or unusual. And I was like, I always get made fun of because I was a practicing attorney before I took this position. I did law school. I did practice. I was in the law firm. I now do other things. And I have never had a cup of coffee. I don't drink coffee. People are amazed at that, given how much work and the industry that I am in. Never.
There is a conscious decision, but you're saying you haven't even tasted it?
So I can remember core memory from my childhood is my sister saying, okay, try this. I must have been, 10, putting it in my mouth and spitting it out all over the kitchen floor. That was the first and last time I've had any coffee.
And okay, this is it's really interesting because people are just set up and, okay, I need the coffee in order to function.
Yes. Yeah.
How do you give advice?
Great.
It's fun. It's comforting. So how do you get your energy when you don't have it? Do you have other strategies or you're just not addicted to it. So you
Yeah.
meditate, you do push-ups, do you
I don't
run in a circle, or do you just not have that? You wake
Yeah.
up and you're good.
No, I don't wake up and I'm good. Trust me. But I don't drink any caffeine. It feeds anxiety. It gets me too anxious. Nope.
And uncaffeinated tea, nothing.
Nope. Nope. I don't like the taste of tea either. So I'm very,
Wow.
it's very like water or wine.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
basically the two. But no, honestly, as I think many women and parents like me, I have to get up, right? My kids have to get me up. They're constantly on me. I have to go do this. And by the end of the day, I'm just exhausted. And so I just have to get up and do it again. I wish I could drink coffee, but I
And you're like,
No
whatever,
desire.
you're good now. Okay, 2 more questions, then I'll let you get
Awesome.
back to the networking. This one's gonna be a big one, but maybe on the top of your head, you
Okay.
won't come up with it.
Okay.
But since like you said, you were a career services in law school, you practice, you've had a lot of growth in that, what you're doing now, and you speak a lot. Is there anything that you wish you could talk more about in your career journey that you don't get to talk about, that you never goes in that focus? You always talk about
right.
things, but if you had to get real, so here's what I wish I could tell people or what I've learned. I don't know if
Yeah.
there's anything that comes to mind.
You know what? I think what's so important and what I've tried to do is really people are interested a lot of times in your story. And so that's actually another topic I recently brought into the fellows program is storytelling, because people want connections with you, right? They want to feel like you're someone who they really relate to. And so I feel that just being able to have those moments of connection with people, and there are little moments in my story as a Mexican American growing up in a very white bread environment,
Where did
little
you grow up?
things that happened right down the street in
Okay,
Maryland.
okay.
And I'm like, other people probably had that. And whenever I do get a stage or I'm at the fellows program and I'm doing the opening statements or something, and maybe I'll talk a little bit about myself and I'll bring up something and I'll say, how many of you ever, for instance, hated the first day of school? Why'd you hate it? What made you hate that? And then you will get so many people say it's because when they got to my name on the attendance sheet, they didn't know how to pronounce it. And that's such a moment that like really stuck with me and made me question my identity. And when I say that, so many people in the audience are shaking their head or raise their hand and say yes.
Wow.
And so I would love more connection moments. That answers your question,
It
but
does answer my question. And it really can. I got chills from that. My last name's Schnurman. It's not easy to pronounce sometimes in school, but it's funny, like this story component of it is really, because especially in work, we put up a
Yeah.
persona and it's, hi, how are you? What do you do for a living? I lived in Spain for 2 years and I really worked hard, because in Europe, it's the last question you ask.
yeah,
Or if you're in social, it's tell me, like, what are your hobbies?
Right,
And things like
right.
that. And you connect with them more because we're all that. So I appreciate that.
yeah.
And I can visualize what you're saying, being Mexican American in Maryland, having your last name pronounced wrong.
And I think it's pretty phonetic.
Yeah.
Velasquez.
Yeah,
And
I have that one. I got, yeah.
The things people say, and when you're young and shy and
Totally.
different,
Totally.
it makes a difference. And so many people relate to that.
Thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
And then the last question,
Okay.
and this is when I can tell you if you don't remember, I asked you ahead of time
Okay.
some books that had an impact in your life. And I
Yes.
read them to you if you don't.
Yes. Yes. No. So I'll start chronologically.
Okay.
I love to read. And the one book that led me to love reading is Little Women. That's one of my favorite books of all time. Joe and Beth and Amy.
I've never read it. So what's the
never
why?
read Little Women. It's just a great book about sisters
Okay.
and sisterhood and things they go through. And it's been remade like 3 times, I think 3 separate times in the movies. And I've seen every one.
Okay.
The last one was the best, in my opinion.
And what's the lesson in it? Is there a lesson like from
It's more about it's women, sisters growing up in a time where women weren't able to hold a job easily or do this. And so there's different personalities of the sisters, very different, but yet they're sisters and they always come together and they support each other as a family. And so that book was just like I love that book. It's very worn copy, and I'm trying to introduce my daughter to it, but of course, because I'm introducing it to her, she does it
well,
with
I mean, of course, yeah.
maybe at one time. But then the other book was a recent read because I do like to read current topics of things. And that was The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. I know that's a big book right now.
I know the 5-second rule. I never heard of the let them theory.
Yeah, The Let Them Theory was, I've recommended it to so many people.
I love Mel Robbins.
And it's basically just about how you take everybody's actions to heart. Like it's about you. But in some ways, you got to just let them do what they're doing. And then you get to decide how to react. But their actions are theirs. Let them do. They're going to do what they're going to do. Let them. And then you decide how you want to react. And you make the reaction more about you as opposed to your actions.
And what I love about that, like, there's no new ideas out there. There's just new ways to share it. Because that reminds me of Stoicism, where the only two things you can control are how you think and how you feel. I can't control anything that you do. And to that point, one of the most impactful things for me at Lawline was when I realized I couldn't control what any team member did. And I used to think if I would say something to somebody and they wouldn't do it, I'm like, I probably said it wrong. So let me say it again. And they still wouldn't do it. And then I realized I said it to somebody else and they would do it. I was like, I have no control. And the only thing that to bring it to business, and this is from a book that I read, instead of trying to control or do that, is you control the agreements. If you guys agree to doing something, focus on that. But
that's the concrete thing you can go
versus,
to. Yeah.
You can never control somebody else. Let them do what they're going to do.
And that's the gist of the book. And that was really, like I said, I've given the book to a couple people and I'm like, look, just read this. Now, am I always good at doing that? No. That's why it's a learning journey. You don't just check off the box. Yes. But it was, and it had some great tools for how to do that.
I would love the opportunity to apply to speak, to be a teacher at your university. I have a book on mindset. I have a book coming out in February called 11 Suitcases. It's when I picked up with my family, moved to Barcelona for 2 years. Okay. And it's a whole learning journey. How do you qualify to become a faculty member?
So go to conferences like this.
You look for people.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Basically, we don't have an RFP process.
Yes.
Basically, I have people I've used, and then I ask them what else they do. I come to places like this. I look for maybe certain topics that I want to do that I don't have anybody to do that, and I try to find somebody for that specific topic. Yeah. See, I did not know this about you. And
well, I love everything you're saying. I love your personality. I love your energy. And even if I don't qualify or you're not looking for it, we've worked together in the past. I would love to learn more about what you guys are doing. If you're doing anything, you said in the East Coast, maybe I'll come visit as an attendee. I don't know if you allow that. Where's a partner? Lawline, good.
Potential speakers and speakers I always invite to stay.
When's the next
because
session?
I want them to get our vibe. Totally. Right? I want them to see how we operate, and I want them to want to come and speak for us. Like we're a nonprofit, so we obviously don't pay Microsoft and Apple rates, but our speakers come back again and again because they love what they do for our audience, and then our audience takes them to their organization.
So to let everybody know, if they are thinking and interested, when is the next session?
We are still planning 2026.
Okay, so you're not sure yet the dates. Okay,
not
fantastic.
Sure yet.
Nicole, thank you so much for taking the time at PDI. Looking forward to continuing our conversation offline.
Awesome, I agree.
And thank you for watching. Goodbye.